So this is it. Day 1 of the Warboss Day 2015 May Painting Challenge. I'm Dakian, and this is my project, the Space Marine Librarian. Let's tilt him over so you can see a bit more what I've done. Those of you who followed along on my prequels know that I already painted his backpack. And this is the rest of the miniature, well, apart from the base. And you can see that I have today given him the first coat, the first undercoat of the darkest blue shade. And I don't know if I'll get any more painting done today because I don't have a huge amount of time and I need to chat about planning with you people. And I want to talk about planning. I want to make 3 different points about planning. The first is the artistic planning, the second the technical planning, and the third planning in terms of time management. Let's get started then. First off, the artistic planning. This is by this I mean planning out what to actually put on the miniature in terms of paints. This is related to what some people refer to as color schemes. By a scheme, they mean usually they mean a uniform plan, a plan of what a unit or an army should look like so that they match each other. That's not what I'm referring to now when I talk about planning the model artistically, because this is a single model. He's not a part of any larger troop. I'm looking at it as just a single piece of art, so I'm making purely aesthetic choices. And I tend to think not maybe not so much in terms of actual colors, but in terms of impact. And one of the best ways to make an impact, if you have a piece of art, if we can call it that you want viewers to respond to, one of the best ways is contrast. And I'm thinking here in terms of contrast, dark to light, light and shade. But let's start by seeing, now that I put on this blue, we can see that it serves to block out the miniature very clearly. You can see the different parts. You can see that the armor is one part. This piece of cloth is a second part. The face and head is a third part. And then we have the sword and the pistol as 4th and 5th parts. These are the sort of main blocks of the miniature. And the question is, what sort of relationship do I want these to have to each other? Now, I've already decided on a reasonably dark and a sort of muted blue for the armor, which is the majority of the area, as you can see here in the front, and on the back almost all of it. So then the question becomes, in terms of contrast, which areas should be bright? And what I'm currently thinking is that I want the sword to be bright, and I want this apron to be bright. And I want the face and the pistol to be sort of in the middle. So if the armor is darkest and these 2 parts are the lightest, these 2 will be in the middle. What this provides is, if you see, the sword and the cloth sort of form a diagonal across the mini. It would be even better if this cloth was sort of flowing in the wind and extended out this way, but oh well. We can't have everything. I think this will make for a nice impact. We have a light line that is very well, diagonals are usually considered to be, they look active. They provide an illusion of movement, even though he's just standing still. And then we'll have a sort of secondary line because these two objects will be sort of in the middle, so we have a sort of secondary diagonal this way, the brightest one this way. And I think this will look interesting to the eye. So, second point, technical planning. By this I mean partly which techniques to use on which parts, and I'm not going to talk all about that today. I'll get into it as I get to the individual parts. But another important aspect of technical planning is which parts get painted first, the order of painting. And I have two simple principles I follow. Well, maybe three. The first one is do all the messy stuff first, which means dry brushing. There is no dry brushing on this miniature, so that's disposed of very easily. The second important rule is paint the hardest to reach areas first. Now, some people refer to this as painting from the skin out, because usually the skin is what's closest to the body, and then the clothing is outside that, and then armor is outside that. But in many actual sculpts, you have to go in a slightly different order, because if you consider what would have happened if I'd painted his face first and then tried to get into this collar area. Let's see if I can zoom in here. You can see that now it's not just the shadow from the light. When I painted into these crevices, I actually got a little blue on his chin. Imagine if I'd painted the face beforehand and I got blue paint on it. Not good. I would have had to redo the face. So therefore this layer of paint had to go on first. Now I'm faced with a new choice. Should I continue doing the armor or should I switch to the face? Honestly, doesn't really matter. Technically speaking, I could go either way. I'm thinking I'll do the face first because this is my third sort of principle, is when possible, do the face as early as possible. Because the face makes the miniature come alive. It gives you an idea of the sort of personality of it, and it serves as it helps as an inspiration to me when I'm in the continuing work. So I think the next thing to do will be to do the face. Also, I'll wait with the rest of the blue because there are some areas, like for instance here in the backs of the knee and on the hips, you have these areas which are not, or they shouldn't be the blue of the armor. They should be, well, I usually interpret them as some sort of flexible rubber-like material. And they are recessed deeper than the armor, so they need to be painted first before I do the rest of the blues. Now, the third question, let's zoom out a little bit again. That's enough, I think. The time management one, that's the planning of what to do when in this month ahead. And I'm going to be, I'm just going to say that for the first week, I hope to finish the face and head and the main part of the armor. That is the actual blue on the armor and these recessed areas I mentioned. I'm not going to worry about the details like this book or the skull or the keys or the purity seal just yet. I'll save those for later. And, well, that is going to be it for today because I'm already running long on this video. So, see you tomorrow for more painting. Aha! You thought I'd forgotten the question of the day, didn't you? But no, I'm answering it. The question is, what was your first army? and you're looking at it's part of it anyway, most of it. This is a bunch of, well, mostly Ralph Partha miniatures, a few from other manufacturers, of evil humanoids. We can see here the orcs, and panning across here we start to reach the hobgoblins. We have here the Dark Lord on a winged bout, who is my general. As I said, here are the hobgoblins with their boar riders. We have some minotaurs. We have some goblin wolf riders and goblin infantry. And behind them, some trolls and ogres. And I actually had some just dire wolves. Let's see, where are those? Oh, they're up here. In the back row there, and some hellhounds. You can see these green bases with all flocking on them. Yeah, those are all from this army. Now, this was painted sometime around 1990. It was used for playing battles using the AD&D battle system, which is why they're all kind of D&D type monsters. And yeah, the paint jobs are kind of basic. I mean, if you look at one of these guys now, one of these orcs, let's see if we can focus. Yeah. The interesting thing is you can actually get these minis again, at least the orcs and the elves they fought, which I don't have any of. They're on Kickstarter. Ralph Partha is actually, or Iron Wind as they're called now, are actually kickstarting a new casting of some of their old minis, and it's already funded. So if you want some old school minis, fantasy minis, go check that out on Kickstarter. I might get into that for, well, not for orcs because I already have all the orcs I need, but some of the bigger monsters like some dragons and stuff. That could be interesting. So yeah, these were my guys. I would say the MVPs, the star players of this army, were the Wolf Riders and the Trolls. The Trolls because, hey, they're fast, they're strong, they regenerate. I mean, what's not to like? And the Wolf Riders because they could split, move, and fire. I mean, they could move part of their movement allowance, shoot missiles, and then move again. So they were used like Mongol cavalry. And that was annoying as heck to my opponents. Alright, that is the question of the day answered.